So, anytime I'm talking about career development or managing teams, two things constantly pop up. One is salary negotiation. And believe me, I am going to come to you with probably a long winded video on how to properly negotiate your salary. But the next one is how to get comfortable with taking risks. A lot of people love to stay in a comfortable place. They don't like to take chances. They have a fear of hearing no, which I don't understand. No is just a word. But there's a true fear of kind of taking risks or going after something that they really want. And I wanted to come to you and kind of help you through that paralyzing fear or not knowing where to start when it comes to getting comfortable with taking risks. It's a muscle. It's like a muscle you have to massage. So I want to help you massage it with these key tips. Hey team, welcome to Everyday Career Coach. I am Career Coach Mo, helping you find the best strategy for your career trajectory. And today we are talking about how to get comfortable with taking risks. A lot of people get stuck in jobs. They really stunt their growth within their career because they are scared. They are scared to go for positions that they feel they might not be qualified for, or they feel like there's too many people going for that position, I'm never going to get it, or they just don't know how to get comfortable with taking chances. You know people who've been, at their jobs for a very long time that should have been left, who didn't leave because they just was scared about taking a risk. And so I want to kind of help share what has worked for me because look, I did not come fully, flushed out as a human being. I had to go through trials and tribulations and learn how to get better at different things just like everyone else. But, I've been in my career for about 20 years. I guess I'm showing my age here a little bit. And I've seen a lot of people come and go as a hiring manager as well. And so I kind of learned a lot of good things, a lot of good stuff about how you can get more comfortable with that. And I wanted to share that with you today. So, what is the first thing you need to do to get more comfortable with taking risks? Well, you got to kind of practice taking risk. You have to start with small bets. You have to start with small things, really kind of jumping out of your comfort zone with what you can kind of do day to day. Is it that you're going to say something to your boss that you've never said before? Is it that you're going to ask for something you've never asked before? Is it that you are going to kind of put yourself out there more at meetings or kind of volunteer for certain projects that you've never done? Are you going to really say, I really want to try this and really go after taking small bets? So that means you have to do that consistently because the more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it. So think about giving yourself the next 3 months and saying, once a week, I'm going to take a small risk, whether it's in your work life or your personal life. And then you're going to write down what was the outcome of you taking the risk. Was it good? Was it bad? And then if you see something that it was bad, why? Why was it bad? What did it do? Did you get something from it? And I think in the end, a lot of people will notice that when they're taking risks, they're really getting something that they're learning from so that when they try it again, they can try it in a different way. So definitely thinking about how you can be consistent with small bets and taking small risks in your day-to-day life for the next 3 months so that you can get comfortable with actually doing that. So the next tried and true trick is to get comfortable with good enough. We have a problem with thinking we have to be perfect at everything. We have a perfection problem. And so that's why if people don't think they're going to do it well, 100%, not going to mess up, they just don't take the chance. So we have to get good with understanding that sometimes good enough is good enough. It will get you to the next step. And that's what you have to think about. Are you trying to get somewhere and you have to take these risks every step of the way, or even just a couple of times, that is going to help you push forward? And you might not be looked at as the perfect person or you did the perfect thing, but it did push you forward. It did give you that next opportunity. It was good enough. And so you have to start playing in your mind a loop that good enough is just going to have to be good enough to get me to the next step. And every time you're pushing and you're going and you're getting good enough, guess what? You're getting better. You're getting better each and every time, and you're getting close eventually to perfect and to understanding what it takes to get to where you need to get to. I have many videos where I talk about how perfectionism is paralyzing. It does you no favors. There's no such thing as being perfect. So you have to understand that even when it comes to risk taking, your wall can be perfectionism. So get comfortable with doing something just good enough that's going to elevate you and push you into that next step that you're looking for. The next thing you have to focus on is understanding that knowledge is power. Understanding that I'm going to go into this knowing there is a 99.9% chance I'm going to fail. But this failure is not going to be in vain. I'm going to make sure I'm extracting as much as I can from the failure that I may about to be experiencing so that I can do it better the next time. So understanding that you're going in for research purposes, you're going in to learn something, to understand something. And if you don't get it on the first try, you're going to get something out of it that's going to help you be better at it on the second try, the third try, the fourth try. I've heard business owners, entrepreneurs, people who really got into the top of their career, who consistently had to try to do things differently each and every time before they got the right one. And one of the things that is weaved through all of that is they kept trying and they kept extracting the knowledge from it. They weren't scared anymore to fail because they were looking for the failure, because they were looking for the learnings from that. And so understanding that you are never too old, you've never been someplace long enough to learn and know everything, and that learning has to be the foundation of a risk taking. And knowing that if I don't make it this time, I'm going to be clear that I'm extracting what I need to extract from this experience. So first things first is taking small bets. Next thing is knowing that good enough just may have to be just good enough. And third is understanding that knowledge is power, and you have to try things sometimes that may or may not fail so that you can get the knowledge to really push you and get better at the next try. One of the other things that I think people kind of have an issue or a challenge with is when they take risks. They don't know why they're taking that particular risk or they're making that decision. They don't have any clear set priorities. They don't know what this risk taking is truly about. They think maybe superficially that, oh, if I take this risk, maybe in the end, I'll get more money. Or if I take this risk, maybe in the end, I'll get that promotion. But is that truly going to get you that? Have you truly thought that through? Have you set the priorities that there are key milestones, there are key red lights that make sense, that you are on the right track to accomplishing getting more money or getting that promotion? So you have to really sit down and be thoughtful about prioritizing what are the 3 things you want to make sure you get out of the risk. Because this is how you're going to evaluate if it was worth it or not, if you got the learnings that you were looking for, if you need to go at something a little bit differently the next time. You have to write it down. You have to understand what you were looking for in the first place. Don't try to make something fit after you've taken the risk. Be clear on what's the purpose of the risk, what are the 3 things you're trying to get out of those risks, and to make sure that you're on the right track to get those things out of the risk. So definitely setting clear priorities is extremely important. Last but not least, when it comes to getting comfortable with risk taking, is erring and being on the positive side of risk taking. Negative thinking will always and continue to stop you in your tracks. Negative thinking can just destroy confidence in every way possible. So if you know you're going to try to take a risk, you got to say, I'm willing to fail if, that's the thing, right? What is the if? I'm willing to take this risk and be okay with failing if I get X, if I learn Y, if I meet Z. Like, really kind of write that down and be very clear about, I'm okay with failing. And that's where you got to kind of start from, because guess what? You have to kind of get that fear-based thinking out of your head. So you got to turn that negative into a positive. So it's more like, okay, if I try this and I fail, I'm okay with failing if X. But if I don't fail, man, it is going to, I'm hitting all these priorities and I'm ready for the next risk. Risk taking is about consistency. Risk taking is understanding that everything is not personal. Everything is not going to crumble you as a person. Everything is not going to make you think you are the worst human being in the world, that you're dumb, that you can't do what you want to do because you failed at one risk. You have to have consistency. So that's why I said in the beginning, it's all about taking the baby steps to get comfortable with taking risks, small risks, so that you can understand that, hey, I did great, or I failed, and guess what? I survived. And so positive thinking is extremely important when it comes to getting comfortable with risk taking. So those are my 5 tips. It's all about consistency. It's all about you consistently trying to get comfortable with risk taking. It's about taking baby steps. It's about understanding that the world will not fall apart. You are not a horrible person if you fail at this particular risk, because as much as you're learning and extracting from it, guess what? You will eventually get to that finish line and you will cross it and you will accomplish what you've been looking for because you had to take those risks. So I hope those tips were helpful. I hope I earned your like today. And if I didn't, I hope you come back and give me another chance. Please feel free to share in the comments. When have you taken a risk? When has it worked for you and when hasn't it worked for you? I've talked about in previous videos that I've taken risks with jobs and it was the worst decision I've ever made. But guess what? I knew what not to do when I looked for the other job. I knew when to stay put a little bit longer instead of just jumping because of that negative experience that I had. And I've had risk taking where it's truly paid off for me bigger than what I ever thought it would. And so, but I had to continually and consistently take risks. And you're going to need to do that too. So thanks for watching Everyday Career Coach with Career Coach Mo.